Hey guys, how's it going? It's your boy, Big Blue Drew 97 here to talk to you about My Hero Academia. Manga chapter 258 titled Friends. And relatively speaking, this is both a long, short, important, but not as important chapter as possibly the next chapter. But all in all, very good chapter. And you know it's a good chapter when you start off with the cover page of the big three: Deku, Midori. Oh gosh, I said Deku, Izuku, Midoriya. No, you got Deku, Shoto, and Bakugo hanging out with like the female Endeavor and how they're going around the city. That's how you know you're gonna get a good chapter because you just have her in it. Like at first, I used to like not really like her. I thought she was like just a hard butt. You know what? I'm gonna curse hard ass. But in actuality, she's a very great person. Also, she's very attractive. Nice. But yes, we actually start off the story with a flashback. So in actuality, like around like 90% of this entire chapter is just flashback to 2 months ago. So we all thought that, oh, we're about to start. It's about to start there. All the heroes disappeared. Next chapter, we're gonna go right into it, and we get immediately a flashback. But it's a very interesting flashback. In this flashback, they're just mainly like just two characters. You just have Hawks and Twice. And basically, what we see is just like the interactions and the friendship that comes from them. We first start off with like basically Twice going up to Hawks and it's like, "Yo, Twice, I need your advice." He's like, "I was trying like the people who are restless under like who are under me, and like they were asking me like, what is our goal? What is our plan?" And I was like, I gotta go take a dump," and he left, which I find hilarious because he's just like, yeah, like that seems like something like. Not like just it's like it's anime trophy. It's like I gotta go, or it's like you're trying to make an excuse, like the excuse that you always come up with, like I gotta go to the restroom or I gotta go take a dump. So I just really enjoyed that. And like what's even better is like Hawks also enjoys it because like he's laughing at it. And I think the main thing that we really get from the chapter is how we all know that Hawks is undercover, but he still finds like some enjoyment specifically from Twice, and like he's giving advice to Twice, but he's not like really like enjoying it. But he's like, "Oh wow, well yeah, talk about like this and like how you want to do this and this, like to make like good impressions." And like from that we get like a tie into like the Structured Liberation Army, because like Twice is talking about like, oh, he needs to like encourage his underlings, and we immediately start fitting into how within like the span of like a single month, and just let you know, this flashback takes back 2 months from the current time period, and then a week after the heroes learned about the hospital where Shigaraki is, where we get like a kind of a location where Shigaraki is, which is he's in the Kyoto area. We know that for sure, so it's like they're probably going to go for a hospital in the Kyoto area, most likely. But after that, we actually get a really solid structure on how the paranormal liberation front is structured. Because we know, like, it was basically the Liberation Army and the League of Villains joined forces. But now there's like a hierarchy. Like we knew like who the leaders were, which was like Dobby and Toga and Spinner, but we also get like a more structured hierarchy and how like the actual army is split up into at the very least like 4 distinct areas, and they basically go into it and like Hawks basically says, yeah, like there are like 4 different places and each one has like certain people under them with like one exception, and they all have like a base in like specific area where they do their specific things. It turns out the person that is like most likely doesn't have like a specific base is probably Twice's group, which we learned that Twice is under the Vanguard, is the leader of the Vanguard Action Tactics Unit, like regiment, which it's funny because it's Twice and you don't think that he's like the most tactical person, but when you really think about like among like all of the quirks, like his could be considered like the most tactical because of how he could send out like multiple waves of like his like subordinates as well as like the vanguard units, and they won't have to worry about being hurt. So like he plays like a strong role in tactics. I think all of the leaders have like a strong role in what they do. And his vanguard name, like what he's categorized, like what his name, each one that has a name and it correlates to a color. His is black. I don't know the specifics of it. I just enjoy the fact that like there are certain ones that are like very great. Like 3 of the 4 like names for like the regiments are great. Twice's is black. Then we have Dobby as well as the ice dude who can control like ice. His name is Geton or Geton. They're actually in charge of the Vanguard Action Guerrilla Warfare Regiment, and they're violet. And I think like with the violet, I think with like Twice is black because of like his black suit, like his black spandex. But I think specifically when it comes to Dobby and Getten, I think the reason why they're probably violet, it may have to deal with the idea of like how fire is red, and ice is like portrayed as like blue in a sense. And when you combine them, you get violet. You know, the only problem is that like Dobby's flames are blue and ice is clear, but like just the general idea. That's probably why it's violet, and like they have like 3 people under them, and then the third regiment is Carmen, and I think the color of Carmen might be red because of Carmen Sandiego. No. That may seem weird, but it's Carmen Sandiego. Carmen has like the red like suit, red hat. It might be red. Red is a color. Carmen may represent red. That is a stretch, but I'm gonna go with it. And under the Carmen unit, which is the Vanguard Action Intelligence Regiment, we actually have Toga, and we have Skeptic. Skeptic, the dude who like, which I find like even like a little bit more of ironic, where she has to work with Skeptic, where Toga has worked with Skeptic, who threatened to kill her. And oh yeah, also like with Dobby too, he has to work with someone who actively went against him and tried to kill him. But hey, they're villains. What are you going to do? Oh yeah, almost killed you that one time. Oh yeah, almost killed you that one time too. Oh, that's fun. Let's kill the heroes. Yeah, but but yeah, and she's in charge of intelligence, which makes sense because like that's kind of the job that Skeptic did, and it's like the intelligence of like stealth and like spying, which is even great with Toga because of her ability. She can transform into people, which means like she's just like pretty much great when it comes to intelligence. So I think like for each of like these 3, like the people who are under them, oh yeah, for the Vanguard like guerrilla warfare, I think they're just like the initial vanguard that like goes into attack, and I think Dobby and Getten is in charge of it because like they have very strong quirks that are just overly destructive and can be used hard and fast in relation to like guerrilla warfare, where it's like you sneak up on enemies, surprise attack them, and then like run away. And I think their quirks are really good for that. The only one that is like very like weird is like you have Spinner and Mr. Compress, who are involved with the Vanguard Action Support Regiment, and and theirs is like the best color. Theirs is brown. I'm just gonna say that it relates to them being shit. No. I don't know the color for it, but I think it kind of makes sense for support because at least for Spinner, we've always seen him be like the support character, where like we see him like. I think like the main thing is like how he was able to drive the car and how he was like basically like a little bit of like the moral center for the League of Villains, like how he was a part of Satan, and also with his ability, which is like basically like sort of like Lizard, I believe, or he's like able to stick to walls. I think like that could be like a good support ability. And with Compress, I think like his support just comes to the fact that he's able to compress anything into the marbles, meaning that he can carry like medical supplies, he can do like a lot of different things like he could turn people into like the marbles and carry them so that they can run away. Like for Mr. Compress, that makes sense that he's part of the support regiment. I'm not really 100% sure about Spinner, but yes, we get the structure of the Paranormal Liberation Front, which is great. And then after we gain all the information, we just get a little bit more backstory of how like Hawks, like a little bit of like how Hawks is able to do what he's doing right now, like talking to Twice because he had like practice with negotiation and his training under the government, which is very great. And sort of slight tangent, something I really enjoyed about the most recent My Hero opening is you actually get to, if you haven't been reading the manga, we actually got to see like a hints at a few of the villains and like future characters like who will show up, if not this season, definitely next season. And we get a little hint of Hawks in his training with the government, which I found very cool, and it builds up on his character. And basically for the next like few panels, we basically get a better understanding of the interactions and like the friendship that Hawks has built with Twice. Whether or not it's one-sided, it is a friendship there. And I think that's like the main crux of what this chapter does, is establish the friendship between Hawks. Oh my gosh, between Hawks. I'm gonna keep that in because I'm not gonna redo that. So between Hawks and Twice, and I think like what they're setting up, or what Kurahoshi is setting up, is probably like either the death of Hawks, or Twice learning of Hawks' betrayal, which can be tied in one another. Like, most likely than not, Hawks may die. Because, like, we do know that Twice has, like, strong connections with friendships with, like, the villains, and how he would not allow, really, for, like, anyone to, like, no matter who they are, to, like, harm his friends. So, like, all in all, like, I think, like, it's just built up to, like, the betrayal, and how Twice is probably going to get crushed, and most likely Twice is going to get crushed, and most likely Hawk's going to die. But we also get a more establishment of the plan for the villains, which their plan basically is the annihilation of all of heroes, as well as the status quo. Basically going to do this by like targeting specific cities, basically making the entire like world a lawless area, and when they finish with that, just put Shigaraki on top of all of it, and Hawks like equates it to the second coming of one All for One. So we get an establishment of like their main goal, which is just killing all of the heroes, like destroying everything, and then putting Shigaraki on top. And then again, we get more establishment of Hawks and Twice, which I really enjoy, because he doesn't address Twice as Twice. He addresses him as his like legal name, which is Jin Bugawara. Bugawara. Oh gosh, that's gonna be a hard name to say. Long story short, it shows that Hawks actually like feels like a friendship with Twice, but he also recognizes that Twice is like a real like crucial key to the villain's plans, because he used to have this trauma that did not allow him to use his power. But once he overcame that trauma, we get kind of like what he could possibly do is like clone like that Nomu that fought Endeavor, which like Endeavor was barely able to like just like kill and stop. Technically, Twice can make multiples of them, and if like the strongest hero could barely defeat one, there may not be a chance for anything else. So that's something else that shows that Hawks is still on the hero's side, because he's thinking of that because of his connection with Endeavor. So he's like, yo, Twice is like a dangerous dude. But then in the next page, but he's a nice guy at heart. He's good-natured. And then he says, let's fly free together. Where when he's saying let's fly free, he said it previously like how like the world's the cage, but that's more of like him like trying to like play into like the idea of like, oh yeah, no, I hate like how the world actually is, but in actuality he like would just want for the world to be a world where like heroes have so much free time. So when and I think in this instance when he says let's fly free together, he's not talking about let's fly free, let's destroy the human world. He's like, you and me, Twice. You and me, let's get out of here, because you're like a really good guy and you don't really belong here. And then after like all of that, we cut back to the present, where you see this like little kid. We don't know if he's going to be like a first year. He says he's a first year, but we don't know if he's going to be a first year at UA or first year in middle school, elementary school. We don't know, but we see that he's holding Endeavor, so we know that he wants to be a hero most likely. But he's looking up at a statue of All Might. And like his mom's like, are you ready? His mom's like, are you ready for your first year? He looks up, he's like, mm-hmm. So basically it's like he's holding Endeavor, who's the number one hero, and is looking at All Might, which like gives him the courage. And like this is just the juxtaposition for what we just learned is how they want to destroy this hero world, and by and such destroy the hopes that the people have in the heroes. And then right next to that panel of that little kid, we also see just where all the heroes just coming together, basically going to war and like preparing like for the war, like just this big like widespread panel shot, similar to probably like in the Avengers where you have all the heroes standing like in a row. That's what it looks like, and Endeavor is taking the front because he is the number one hero. And then after that, we cut back to the present once again, where all of the 1A kids are like, oh, yo, it's almost like the spring break's almost over. We're about to be sophomores. Yo, by the way, we're going on a trip. And like everyone's like, oh, you're going on a trip? I'm going on a trip. What? No way. I'm going on a trip on this day. Wow, save it. Everyone's like, yo, what is a coincidence? It's like everyone's like starting to realize, yo, we're all going to the same place. And like it's sponsored by like our hero agencies with our training and whatnot. Like, oh, what's going on? And then immediately cut to like one of Endeavor's like people, like the female like Endeavor lady, where she's like, okay, kids, while the heroes are in the foothills, yeah, we're gonna evacuate this city. And then we just get a shot of like not just 1A, but all of the student heroes in their hero attire, looking off in the distance, probably coming to the conclusion like, yo, we're about to fight now. And then the chapter ends, and oh my gosh, a second time it fell. Oh gosh, I need to get like an actual, gosh, Justin Light, well, yeah, that's basically the end of the chapter. All in all, I thought it was a very good chapter. Mainly due to the fact that we get a lot of interactions between Twice and Hawks, as well as we get like more establishment of how the League of Villains is structured, and we also get like a concrete plan, as well as like for the most part, this is where the war begins. The wars between the heroes and the villains basically gets established in this chapter. So what's gonna happen next? I'm not 100% sure. I know the heroes are gonna fight the villains. Also, I'm pretty sure there was like at the very least over when it comes to like the Vanguard unit. I'm not sure if we're gonna have Class 1A and the students fight the Vanguard unit yet, but I can see like different interactions. Like I can see Shoto and Bakugo go up against Dabi and Getten. I can see Ochako and Skeptic going up against Ochako, Uraraka, like certain students. But I think mainly the heroes are going to do that. I think that all of the Class A may face one or two of like the lower levels, because each of the 4 organizations have like 2 people, depending on like how many people are in like each Vanguard unit. They have like 2 people, like 2 and 1, 2 and 2, 2 and 3. So for the most part, they may have like a minimum of 3 people in the Vanguard or a maximum of 6. Like sub-leaders. So I think those are most likely who the Class 1A and like the students are going to fight, but those are going to be most likely very intense fights. And I think unfortunately by the end we may find a lot of heroes are going to die, but I think one of the main heroes who may die is Hawks, and I think it may be in the hands of Twice, which would be very poetic based off what we learned in this chapter. But all in all, really did enjoy this chapter. 4 out of 5 chapter. Really loved it. Hopefully you enjoyed the chapter as well as this video. Hopefully I'll be able to catch you next time in my Hero Academia reviews. And that's pretty much it. Sorry for all everything falling, but hopefully I'll catch you next time.